Our journey begins in a once small mining town that's now the third largest city in Brazil, Belo Horizonte. We drop south through the vast Serra da Rola Moça State Park, a magnificent natural landscape that still bears the scars of the region's mining past. Deep in this remote location, we discover the Inhotim Art Gallery, built by a reclusive billionaire. Moving on, we explore Congonhas, home to a UNESCO World Heritage Site basilica. We continue to Tiradentes, where we follow one of the world's oldest working steam railways. Before travelling through rainforest, jungle and mountains towards our journey's destination, Brazil's towering national shrine and the second largest basilica on earth, Aparecida. Surrounded by a ring of lush green mountains is Belo Horizonte. But despite its size and importance, the city is barely more than a century old. From its humble beginnings as a mining town, it's grown to over 5 million inhabitants. It's the capital of the region and an important centre for industry and commerce. Known to locals as BH, Belo Horizonte continues to grow at a remarkable rate. To the north of the city is the suburb of Pampulha. A triumph of urban design and modernist architecture, it was created in the early 1940s by Oscar Niemeyer, then a brilliant young architectural graduate, and Roberto Burle Marx, a landscape artist. The man-made lake, suburb, and its buildings were their first collaboration. They went on to design many of Brazil's iconic landmarks. Perhaps the most striking of Niemeyer's buildings is his extraordinary Church of St. Francis of Assisi. The inspiration came from poet Paul Claudel, who said, "A church is God's hangar on earth." Claiming it looked more like the devil's bomb shelter, the local archbishop tried to have it demolished. Finally, in 1959, it gained acceptance and was consecrated for worship. Today, it's recognized as one of Niemeyer's greatest works and a masterpiece of modernist architecture. Nearby is the Pampulha Museum of Art. Niemeyer designed it as a casino, but in 1946, shortly after being built, gambling was prohibited. It was repurposed as an art museum and now houses several important Brazilian contemporary pieces. Outside, the fluid lines of Burle Marx designs can be seen in the winding curves of the museum's gardens. On the opposite side of the lake is the Casa do Baile, the dance hall. Planned as a place for ordinary working people, Niemeyer's design was intended to echo the rolling rhythm of the samba. The building links a restaurant and dance hall with a smaller stage beneath a sinuous concrete canopy. Today it serves as an important centre for architectural and urban design. Mineirão Stadium is a more recent addition to Pampulha. Though perhaps of less architectural interest, it's the source of no little passion. This is one of the most historic venues in Brazilian football. It's been home over the years to sporting legends such as Ronaldo, Tostão, Dario, and the stadium's top goalscorer, Reinaldo. With over 64,000 seats, the stadium underwent a $300 million refurbishment in preparation for the 2014 FIFA World Cup. Our journey now takes us south to Belo Horizonte's bustling downtown area. In contrast to Niemeyer's curving organic designs, the city has an orderly grid layout. Traditionally a centre for industry and commerce, Belo Horizonte is becoming popular with tourists, many of whom are drawn to its parks and green spaces. Indeed, it is often known as the Garden City. And in its heart, we find the palm-lined Liberty Square. It's dominated by the imposing Palacio de Libertad, once the seat of the state government. Built in 1897, its neoclassical design reflects the importance of French architectural influences in the development of the town. The palace was the site of many important decisions that ultimately shaped the city. Today it stands as a museum to the region's history. Across the square is yet more evidence of Oscar Niemeyer's remarkable handiwork. This extraordinary curving 20-story apartment block. The complex design makes the building difficult to maintain. Today, despite its architectural importance, it's beginning to fall into disrepair. We move now to perhaps the true birthplace of Belo Horizonte, the railway station. Built in 1922, it was vital in bringing the early settlers to the city. And it was from here that local goods and materials were transported south. Modern Belo Horizonte's commuters, though, rely more on the city's well-developed bus system. Unlike today, it seems, the roads here are normally heavily congested. To keep commuters moving, the city has designated separate bus lanes on many of the busiest highways. The vehicles are organized using a system of coded colors. Our next stop is Pope's Square. Colourful and impressive, it occupies one of the highest points in the city. Officially, it is Praça Israel Pinheiro, named after a local politician, but it's become known to all as Pope's Square after a visit from John Paul II in 1980. Leaving Belo Horizonte, our journey takes us over one of the many disused, flooded mining quarries that still scar the landscape. We continue on to the Serra da Rola Mossa State Park. These magnificent rolling green hills are a habitat for several species on the brink of extinction, including puma, ocelot, and maned wolf. And it's in this most remote of places that we find the extraordinary development of Inhateam. Built by the mining tycoon Bernardo Paz, this 20 square kilometre plot is dedicated to sustainability, education, and culture. The site was designed by Roberto Burle Marx, who helped craft the garden's flowing lines and sinuous curves. It houses a leading modern art gallery, public sculptures, and remarkable outdoor installations. It also has a botanic collection containing rare species from every continent. Since opening in 2006, Inhateam has welcomed more than 1 million visitors, many from the deprived surrounding rural areas. These galleries hold modern art from over 30 countries, including works by celebrated names such as Anish Kapoor, Steve McQueen, and Chris Burden. In 2006, Paz commissioned Brazilian architect Paula Zasnikov Cardozo to design this geodesic dome nestled amongst the eucalyptus trees. The dome contains Matthew Barney's installation From Mud, a Blade, which depicts a tree being uprooted by a truck. Paz says that Inhateam is neither a park nor an art gallery, but a way of life. Moving on, we find the magnificent Cachoeira Chigadona. This waterfall has 2 drops, the first 40 meters, the second over 70. It's a popular destination for tourists, and for a brave few to abseil down its sheer rock faces. We continue to the city of Ouro Preto. Its Baroque architecture and cobblestone streets have made it a UNESCO World Heritage Site. Ouro Preto means black gold. The town served as a hub during the mining rush. This sudden influx of wealth allowed the Portuguese colonists to construct vast churches decorated with gold as testament to their faith and devotion. We now move to the nearby town of Mariana. Founded in 1696, it is the oldest city in the region. This is the Casa de Câmara e Cadeia. Built by the Portuguese in 1768, it served as the town hall and local jail. Above the main entrance used to hang the Portuguese coat of arms, but these were replaced with the Brazilian imperial crest after independence in 1822. The faded grandeur of Mariana's churches stand as a reminder of the town's past riches. We continue to the nearby Minas de Passagem, once the biggest gold mine in the world. It's now disused and open to the public. It extends downwards some 315 meters. Since it began in 1819, around 35 tons of gold have been extracted. The mine was closed in 1960. We begin our ascent of the Itacolomi State Park. The name means the rock and the boy. It refers to this small outcrop, which the local people describe as the younger cousin of the larger mountain. On the other side of the park is the town of Congonhas, also known as the City of Prophets. It's a name taken from this basilica, the Sanctuary of Bom Jesus do Matosinhos. A UNESCO World Heritage Site, it was founded by Portuguese gold miner Feliciana Mendes in 1757. Surrounding the basilica are statues of 12 prophets. Carved from sandstone, they're considered the crowning achievement of sculptor Alejandrinho. The basilica attracted so many visitors that by the 1930s it was necessary to build extra accommodation at this pilgrimage. Constructed around the oval courtyard, it was largely demolished in 1968 to make way for a hotel that was never built. But in the early 1990s, the pilgrimage was purchased by the state, rebuilt, and restored to its former glory. Today it functions as municipal buildings and as a venue for live events. We leave the city of Congonhas and continue our journey. It takes us further southeast, following one of the many dirt roads that link the small settlements of this region. Here we find a coffee plantation. Whilst mining was once the gold of the region, today coffee has become the major source of income in Minas Gerais. It's the largest producing region in the whole of Brazil. With its steep hills, cool climate, rich volcanic earth, and reliable rainfall, it's ideal for the cultivation of Arabica coffee. We cross the foothills of the Sierra de São José and arrive at the city of Tiradentes. The name comes from the national hero, a revolutionary executed by the Portuguese for planning a rebellion. The town is also a terminus for an extraordinary steam engine. Tiradentes Station was built in 1881 and has been in operation ever since. It's the oldest railway in continual use in the world. Crossing plunging rivers and thick jungle, this is all that remains of the Estrada de Ferroeste de Minas, which once spanned over 900 kilometers. It was built to connect the mines, farms and factories of the area with Rio de Janeiro and Sao Paolo. But over the years, the line was replaced with more modern, wider gauge railway tracks. Today there remains only this 13-kilometer stretch for tourists and enthusiasts. The engines themselves were built by Baldwin of Philadelphia in the United States and shipped here to Brazil. Still in perfect working order, they're affectionately known as Maria Fumaca, or Smoking Marys. The journey takes us through wild and rugged landscape to the next stop on our journey, São João del Rei. It's where we find Brazil's largest railway museum. Opened in 1984, it occupies the elaborate iron structure of the old freight warehouse. The museum also holds exhibits further down the track at the old roundhouse. Here, a number of immaculately preserved, fully functioning steam locomotives can be admired. On weekends, visitors can watch as steam engines are turned on the central turntable before being brought out for service. São João del Rei is divided by the Corrego do Lenheiro. In earlier times, this waterway was mentioned as a mighty river. Today, due to changes in geography and climate, it's more of a muddy creek. The city has a number of significant 18th century buildings, including more than 70 churches. This single street has no less than 3 major places of worship. This is the Igreja Nossa Senhora do Carmo, or Our Lady of Mount Carmel. Built in the Rococo style in 1734, this facade was added later in 1787. Nearby, the Cathedral Basilica de Nossa Senhora do Pilar, or the Basilica of Our Lady of the Pillar, was completed in 1721. And finally, Igreja Nossa Senhora do Rosário, Our Lady of the Rosary, built even earlier in 1719. It's the oldest church in the city. Today it remains an important part of everyday life in São João del Rei. It's now onwards to Serra do Papagaio State Park. Wreathed in cloud, it's a chance to enjoy the mystery, and tranquility of this extraordinary natural environment. We reach Cachoeira do Fundo, a dramatic waterfall. It's the highest in the region, with a drop of over 130 meters. Continuing onwards through the park takes us to the dramatic mountain range of Mantiqueira, a name that comes from the extinct language of the indigenous Tupi people. It means mountains that cry. Quite apt, since the range supplies drinking water to many of Brazil's major cities. Our route now takes us into Itatiaia National Park. It's an exceptional natural environment of thick, rich rainforest, fed by clear, ice-cold rivers running down from the mountains. The park is home to jaguars, pumas, several types of monkey, and over 350 species of birds. It's the oldest national park in Brazil and a popular destination for eco-tourists and birdwatchers. Perched on a hilltop in this remote location is the park's Museum of Fauna and Flora. Opened in 1942, it houses a vast collection of animal and plant specimens that reflect the region's extraordinary biodiversity. Extraordinary as it might seem, this was once used as the most direct path to Sao Paulo from the mines of Minas Gerais. And so, despite the dizzying slopes, it served as the route for transporting gold back to the coast and from there onwards to Portugal. These rice fields are further evidence of the impact of colonialism and Brazil's remarkable ability to take foreign influences and make them their own. The commodity isn't native to the continent. It was introduced by European settlers, but has since become a national staple, often eaten with beans as arroz e feijão. Today, the country is one of the world's major producers of rice, harvesting around 11 million tons a year. We've now reached our final destination, Aparecida, and the imposing basilica of the National Shrine. A towering monument, it's the second largest of its kind in the world after St. Peter's in Vatican City. The vast complex is centered on a small statue of the Virgin Mary, national patron of Brazil, and Our Lady of Aparecida. The tiny figure is said to have been miraculously discovered by 3 local fishermen in 1717 and quickly became the object of national devotion. Over the centuries, the statue's popularity grew, and to accommodate the pilgrims who flocked here, this colossal structure was begun in 1955. Completed in 1980, the dome is 70 meters tall and the tower over 100. It can hold 45,000 worshippers. The new basilica is linked to the old town by a winding walkway of almost 400 meters. And fittingly, it's here that's the final destination for hundreds of thousands of devoted pilgrims each year. A magnificent place to end this journey.